Hey guys, welcome out to Revolution this morning. We're going to continue our examination of the 190 list of Scrivener. And so this list is basically um, when he compiled um, what he believed was the unprinted Textus Receptus Greek edition underlying the King James Version. So he's compared this with Theodore Beza's 1598. And so there's 190 departures that he has from Theodore Beza's 1598. And he writes them down in the back of his Textus Receptus original in 1881. And so we're going to go through that here. So we've already gone through this first bunch in Matthew here. Now we're on to the second page of this appendix. And so we're looking at Matthew chapter 11, verse 21. So we're going to be looking at that. So you can clearly see here it says Visida. It's in the Computensive Polyglot. It's a Vulgate reading. But then we have Visaidan, which is Beza. Criteri Omnes, which means it's in all the other editions as well. So let's just have a look at this. So Matthew 11:21. So this is exactly what I just showed you then. So you can have a good close-up reading of it. Let's have a look at the Scriveners. So let's open this in a new tab. So Scrivener's text, he has a Vifsida, and so he has an asterisk there which points to the bottom of the page, which is right here. So Vifsida, let's just go down to the bottom of the page. So he has, actually, sorry, this isn't at the bottom of the page. This basically, the asterisk just points to the 190 list at the back of the book. Sorry about that. So let's have a quick look at Theodore Beza. Open that in a new tab. Okay, so here we have Vesiden. And so notice it's got the final new on the end there. Okay, so that's in verse 21. And let's just have a look at what this is on Herrera. So I'll just zoom in there a little bit. That's as far as I can go. So we can see here where it's Bethsaida. And of course, so that's the Greek. Then we have the translation by Theodore Beza, and he has Bethsaida here in the Latin, and he has a little 3-dot mark, which means it's in the annotationes, or the annotations down the bottom. And we also see here in the Vulgate it says Bethsaida. Okay, so let's go down the bottom. Okay, verse 21. Bethsaida, Visaidan, and so he's mentioned it here. Okay. And like I said before, this makes Beza's text foolproof in a sense where if there is a printing error here, it'll be picked up in his translation here, but also if it's talked about, it'll be down here in the issues. And so, so say a word like that, we can see what it's been translated as. They wouldn't make, they might make one error, but they wouldn't make all of these three things an error. So that's a very good way. If you go through Beza's material, you can tell if it's there's print errors and things like that. So Vefsida. So let's have a quick look. So this is what Scrivener's changed it to. So he's basically just dropped, wait for the drum roll, the movable nu. And so it has here the 1881 of Scrivener. He's written Bethsaida. Now, why did he put that and not the nu on the end? Well, he's done that because of the King James Version. So let's have a look at what that says. So he's following the King James Version and he's adapting his Greek accordingly. So it says, woe unto the Chorazin, woe unto the Bethsaida. So because he hasn't put an N on the end of this, or because the King James translators didn't put an N on the end of this, he's just gone, oh, they've gone Bethsaida instead of Bethsaiden. So, oh, they've followed the Complutensian polyglot. Oh, they've followed the Vulgate. He'll even say things like that. They've followed the Vulgate. Where, no, if we look back at some of our previous issues, like even, say, Beelzebub, etc., clearly, the second rule of the translators is the names of the prophets and of the holy writers with the other names, so it's including, the names of Beelzebub or the name of a town or whatever, of the text to be retained as nigh as may be, accordingly as they were vulgarly used. So in the time of, 1604 to 1611, they were like, okay, so how are English people using this? Which word are they using for Bethsaida? And so in the Greek it's Visidon. In the Latin it's Bethsaiden. So what are they saying in English? And it's like, okay, well, let's have a quick look at the TR Bibles. So let's go to the bishops. They're saying Bethsaida. Let's look at Geneva, Bethsaida. Great Bible, Bethsaida. Matthew's Bible, Bethsaida. Coverdale, Bethsaida. Tyndale Bible, Bethsaida. Wycliffe, Bethsaida. Even way back, Anglo-Saxon, Wessex Gospel, Bethsaida. So we can see that it simply just doesn't change all the way through. That's the reading. And so if they're going to follow the rules faithfully, then basically this is, they're not going to have put an N on the end of it and go against what's a conventional English name. But Scrivener, and what I'm realizing actually in doing these videos is that Scrivener, he is wrong. He's deeply flawed in doing this, in following the King James here and just assuming, oh, it should have an N on the end of it, and then changing the Greek accordingly. So as with Beelzebub above, so the previous video, Visidon is translated as Bethsaida simply because it was the most commonly known name in 1611, as we just saw. Many of the differences between Scrivener and Beza involve a final nu, and so that's the final nu here. And so, well, I should really point it out in the Greek. So that's the difference between that letter, looks like a V, and see that doesn't have it. So we can see that here, Bethsaida and Bethsaiden. And so it's another one of those things that is a non-issue, really. It's just a nothing. When we go through modern Greek text, we see, the Berean text has Bethsaida. Nestles has the nu on the end, Bethsaiden. Westcott Hort had that as well. And so it seems that Scrivener, he's followed the English so completely, but he has missed the rules of translation. And so it should just say Visidon. And so that's what they all say. basically all the TR editions say Versailles. So he's changed it to Versailles. And what I noticed when I was just sort of setting this up, that that's the reading here in Matthew 11:21. But as I was looking for it, I was like, oh, there it is. And so, oh, no, that's in Mark. It's the same issue. So I'm going to be doing basically exactly the same video. And again, here, there, and there. I mean, how many times? So that's like just on the one page, it's 3 times it's the same issue. So, I mean, you know, I'll make a separate issue, a separate video for those ones. It'll be pretty quick, maybe go for 2 minutes and then I'll point to this video. But it's exactly the same issue. And so it's basically Scrivener not applying the second rule of translation. I mean, what was he expecting? If he was one of the translators, was he going to put an N on the end of it? No. That's not how language translation works. So that's why for, the last, 15 years, I've pointed out that many of these issues that Scrivener brings up are nothings. And so we've nearly gone through the whole book of Matthew, and I've shown you that none of these so far apply. We're going to look in our next video at this issue here, and then we'll be going through the difference between an E and a E. And so we'll be going through that. And yeah, this issue here is the difference between an alpha and an omicron in a word. So we're going to see if that has any translatable difference, and it doesn't. So then, yeah, after the next 2 videos, that'll be this whole issue finished in Matthew. So then we'll start going through Mark. We're going to go through every single one of these, and I'm going to prove to you definitively that there is only about 10% of these are even worth talking about. So hopefully you can understand where I'm coming from with that and why I don't think that's an issue. Sometimes the movable nu, if you study the movable nu, lots of discussion on it online. And so some people state that the movable nu was sometimes written before a consonant in prose. Why the sound of a sentence to the author's ear, perhaps. Sometimes, I guess it's like we have a apple or an apple, we put an N there. It can, I guess, be the difference between different types of Greek. Many times we see esti, but many other times in other Greek Bibles we see estin. And so, anyway, I think that's it for that video. So God bless you guys. Thanks for watching.